1983 was the time when something on two wheels with a performance bent first got on Indian roads. Yes, I am mentioning about the legendary twin-cylinder, two-stroke RD350. That was a bike which was ultra powerful for its time. It had a cracker of an engine, but the chassis and the handling and the brakes left a lot to be desired. Even then, the hairy performance was what really made it stand apart. Since then, no Indian-built bike has ever come close. Of course, many have tried, but it has been left to the maker of the RD350 to really take its time. In fact, it's taken too much time, if you can ask me, almost 30 years. But today, say hello to the new YZF-R3. This is again in the league of the race-developed 350 from the 1980s. This is a direct descendant of the company's M1 MotoGP machines, a lineage which goes across from the 1000cc R1, the 600cc R6, and then India already had a taste of the R15. But here, this is a real deal. 321cc twin-cylinder, 4-valve, twin overhead cam engine with a 6-speed gearbox. A lot of tech built into the engine. A lot of great detailing done on the chassis, so we don't suffer the ills of having a frame which cannot handle the power. We have got excellent suspension front and rear, and if you care to look at the bike, it has the essence of not just the R1 but also traces of the company's M1, which is scorching the world's MotoGP circuits for a long time. One of the key important factors behind most Yamahas here in India has been that they have flattered only to deceive, and mostly it has got to be because of the pricing of the bike. This time there's a new Yamaha because they are behaving like the original Yamaha. So when you're talking about yes Yamaha, 3,25,000 ex-showroom for this machine, I think is spot on. Probably Asano-san and Roy Kurian-san, and along with so many of their other teammates in product planning, in engineering, in manufacturing, also from headquarters in Hamamatsu, and probably the accountants as well, have realized that if they want Yamaha to behave like Yamaha, they have got to have bikes like these in some critical quantum on Indian roads. And the best way to do that is not just give performance, but price it right as well. So, the pricing is right, but what do we get for the price? One of the key elements which Yamaha has done on the new R3 has been to not reinvent the wheel. They have shunned common journalistic proportions to bring across a very well thought out tubular chassis and shunned exotic beam frames and whatnot, because in this sort of a guise with a twin cylinder engine, this chassis frame and the resultant suspension components work very well. And you have to see that it's not about 42 PS of power or just about the torque, but the way the balance of the machine is. So when you have got a tight chassis with the engine hung very well in it to give a fantastic 50-50 weight distribution front to rear, you know that Yamaha's engineers have done the trick as far as not just performance for the track is concerned, but to make a very delightful bike for the roads. You have to also look into this matter that even though the bike comes as a CKD from Indonesia, a lot of Indian components are on the bike, like the excellent MRF zappers which come across on this machine. Tires are very, very vital for any automobile, more so motorcycles. MRF has done a good job with the wheels, both front and rear. The disc brakes are brilliant in feel, in precision, in stopping power, and by and large, when you care to look at this thing, it spells everything in its proper place and really denotes a bike which has got tremendous essence. As an enthusiast or as also a Yamaha enthusiast to the core myself, I must say that this bike has been well worth the wait. 321 cc's of twin cylinder power, right dose of power and torque, and also so many gizmos within the engine. Simple thought like an offset crankshaft to really reduce internal friction, and friction is the real bugbear of so many internal combustion motors. If you see, also for regular road use, you need a wide enough stance, and when I speak about stance, you have got to look at just the way my hand and seat and foot pegs relationship is so very comfortable. You are not crouched low, it's not low down, it's a very neutral riding position. I think this will win a lot of friends for itself on our Indian roads. In fact, it betters the R15 in many ways, because that was a very minuscule bike. This is a bike made for the average Indian Homo sapien, that build, that physique. Lot of good touch points on the machine, excellently well-crafted instrument console, the good handling, steering T geometry, a lots to look forward to. The engine power delivery is smooth, very smooth. It may not be as crisp as some of the Ninja motors are there, because they are sharper, they are more race tuned, but this is got everything to delight on road and track. I'm telling you, this is a big winner for many, including Yamaha, but for me, it is the most smiles I've ever got from Yamaha since 1983. Should say it all, doesn't it? Not an intimidating bike to ride on our roads, and that's already been established here. But how does she do on the track? My colleague Priyadarshan Bhavikar has just had a blast, short blast on the Buddh International Circuit. So PD, crisp view of your 5-lapper on the BIC.
Well, Adil, honestly, 5 laps is a fairly short time to evaluate. But
but even 5 days are too short for us.
That's true. That's true. Like that. Yeah. So the first thing that strikes you is that it's not at all intimidating. It's a very easy bike to ride. It honestly reminds you of the R15, the V1. It's just, it feels compact. It's that easy to turn in.
But it's got a better riding position than R15.
Oh, definitely, sure. definitely. And it's sort of between the V1 R1 and the V2 R15 and the V2 R15. So it's
got that little mass on around it.
Yeah, so it's
it's got also the good handlebar seat peg really. Actually, even the width of the handlebars conducive for good
road riding. Exactly. So it's sort of bike that I think that will work well everywhere. Whether you're on a twisty mountain road, on the racetrack, on the roads, it will just work well everywhere. The motor is beautiful. It is very smooth. It's very refined. It revs beautifully up. Half the time you don't even know you're hitting the red line until the light flashes.
I think, but that's where they've lost the feel, isn't it? They needed much crisper. The Ninja has that little bit of crispiness.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's very refined, yes, no doubt, and maybe that's where it doesn't feel like a chunky big bike.
But then the engineers have done something wonderful for it to always go on the red line in such an easy way.
So
and
easily.
You don't even know that you're hitting the revs.
Absolutely. I mean, half the time I have to look down and check where I was.
You don't need to. You don't need. With such a bike like that, PD and me in Zeegnition are going to really count not just the days but the hours and the minutes by the time when this bike could be in our garage for us to really put it through its paces. One small verdict on the bike. Does it do it for you or it doesn't do it for you?
I think it does, and that's honestly, that's the first time I've said that for a Yamaha in 7 years.
He has said that for the first time in 7 years. You heard me, 1983, to 2015. Do the maths, you have the answers.